days when the road seemed long, fighting battles with no end in sight. But I learned to dance through the pain, taught myself to hold on tight. I faced the storms and the fire. Here I stand a little high. I don't need the world to see. It's not about what's left behind me. I'm running free on my own. With every scar I've made it home.
Welcome everybody with Resilient Routes with Victoria. I am adding my special guest, MJ Motta. She's a 5 times icon with EXP and has a wonderful story of her own through her personal life and success in real estate that will hopefully help you guys today. So welcome, MJ. I absolutely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. What a fun intro. I love all those photos and all the cool things that you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I try to crash everything in there. Resilient Routes is about a lot of things that encompasses it. So yeah, so I tried to make the intro kind of reflect that a little bit. Cool. But starting with you, I mean, you've been a 5 times icon in real estate consistently and consistently ranked one of the top teams on our leaderboards. What inspired you to get into real estate?
You know, I started as a loan officer. I actually spent 11 years as a loan officer specializing in VA buyer financing. And I'm all about teams, right? Hence why I'm a team lead. I took a full ride to college for cheerleading. So everything about supporting others is really like near and dear to my heart. So I learned over the years as a loan officer that there seemed to be a disconnect in communication, in teamwork, in support between the loan officers and realtors. I felt like they were almost working the same transaction separately. There wasn't a lot of cohesion. Maybe it was just those I was working with, but it seemed to be that way across the board in the industry. And I mean, granted, I'm only one person. I can't make that large of a change, but I saw an opportunity to try to bridge the gap in those relationships so that we can collectively better serve our clients. And so I had another realtor approach me when I was first getting into becoming a realtor and said, you know, you have all this loan experience. You may as well just get the real estate license, become the realtor, and try to bridge that gap and try to make that connection and make it a better experience. So that's what I've been trying to do for 5 years going strong now. And I've had a lot of success here in the local industry with other loan officers and really bridging that gap. And I've seen a big change in the industry, at least from my perspective and my transactions. So that was my inspiration behind becoming a realtor.
I wouldn't say try. I would say that you do. And you do all of that. You go above and beyond a whole bunch of things that people don't even know. You're one of those realtors that are just very modest and you work really hard in the background that nobody sees every day because you don't need to be out there rah getting the credit. You are really there for the people to ensure
that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And, you know, speaking of that, throughout the years that you've been in real estate, we always have ups and downs. And what has kept your passion going forward when you have those moments? Because I know we have those moments. Every realtor has those moments, especially in a shift. How do you handle that?
The people. Honestly, at the end of the day, no matter what the market's doing, no matter what your industry partners are doing, no matter what all the outside noise is, there are still people that have a need and desire to buy and become first-time home buyers and enjoy that exciting milestone in their lives. There's still people that have a need to sell, whether they're downsizing, upsizing, they're getting married, having children, they're relocating with their jobs, with the military. No matter what it is, that need and desire from a client is well above and beyond anything that we all have to deal with. So I just, it's just background noise to me. So I just pick up and keep going because it's about them, not about me. So I just always find a way to persevere and get through whatever that noise is and be there for the client's needs and wants. So the people, that's the answer.
Well, and with the people, you have such a busy schedule and a successful career. How are you balancing your work in your life, especially as a new wife? I read in your bio, you have a handsome husband and you got awesome fur babies and a life of your own. How do you balance that? Because I know we all fall short sometimes. So where did you fall short and where are you finding that it's working?
I wouldn't say that I do it well. It's a consistent work in progress. As you know, my husband Ernie was on my team at one point a few years back. And I felt like having him on the team was my balance because, we did work together, we did life together. But at the end of the day, that wasn't what we needed to have, a successful relationship and to really have that bond. So I was in a training a couple of months back where they said, dedicate something every day to your family or your significant other, somebody that really grounds you and supports you in everything you do. So I've started actually going to the dinner table without my phone. It doesn't matter what time we sit down, what fires I have to put out, what of urgency that is. That time is ours and only ours, and nothing gets to interrupt that. So we have good conversation. We talk about what went on in our day. And then at night, I am such a night owl. I mean, I'm super guilty of working until all odd hours of the night till the sun comes up. Bad reference because we live in Alaska, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I learned to actually set a do not disturb. So once that do not disturb goes on at night, it's automatic. It's out of sight, out of mind. The phone doesn't blow up. I don't respond. And I'm there so that I can really give him my full attention, because otherwise I'm constantly doing this and this when he's trying to talk to me. And there's been several occasions where he has relayed something important to me, and I'm, nose deep in work, and, my focus is my clients because I have such this, this really large, important thing that I'm handling on their behalf. And there've been really important things in our personal lives where Ernie has relayed things to me. And I just kind of do one of these like, yeah, okay, babe. Yep, that sounds good. But I'm not actually comprehending. I'm listening, but I'm not comprehending. And then I drop the ball in our personal life. And that can be very costly in the long run. So I've just learned, I'm getting better with time, but you have to make those sacrifices because your family and significant others have to come first. Because if you can't care for yourself well, you're not going to be able to give your best in caring for others. And that's what our job is all about. We have to lead with that compassion and that care and that ability to handle all of the things, but it starts at home. It truly does. So I'm getting better over time.
Absolutely. And I bet you found, for those of them that are realtors out there or anyone in business that is struggling with setting those boundaries, I bet you found that the world didn't blow up and your business didn't die because you set a time boundary for your personal
Absolutely.
time. It still stayed steady.
Yes, it sure does. The fire eventually goes out. Maybe not as fast, but it still goes out.
And things still work out okay. So it is okay, y'all, to put your phone down and have that time.
It's important too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I read your bio. You sent me your bio, and you talked a little bit about legacy. And, that's a word that, in all honesty, as a broker and being in the real estate community, I don't hear a lot. And I actually was really proud when I saw that come through on your bio, because I find a lot of realtors are just not business oriented. And your goal is to leave a legacy. Can you talk about what that legacy is, what that looks like today for you? Because it may change later, but how it is today.
So I think a lot of us are guilty, especially when you're a top producer. It's go, go, go all the time. And it's truly hard to not think about the things in the now and to have that futuristic, like that 30,000 foot view. But we all do this for a reason. And there's an end goal for everybody, whether that is a financial end goal, whether it is an end goal of building your investment portfolio, whether that's retirement, whether that's, paying off your home and living free and clear and traveling. Everybody has a different end goal. And that's why we do the day-to-day operation. My end goal is to leave a legacy behind, whether it's my industry partners, my community, my family. I set out every day doing what I do and giving it my all and 110+% for everybody. Because at the end of the day, when people think MJ Motta, I want them to think service before self, because I want everybody to know that I am here to do the best by everybody I possibly can. It's not just about the client that I'm representing. It's also about the client on the other side for having a great experience and leaving our name in a positive light for the listing side. And that goes for not just the seller, but the listing licensee, all of the industry partners that are involved in the transaction. And most importantly to me, above and beyond business, is my community. So giving back to the community and being out in the community and building that brand and name and reputation is very, very important to me, because again, the legacy comes with people knowing your name and knowing it in a positive light and remembering what you did. So that's really my ultimate goal, and why I work so hard and I give so much all day, every day, to my business, to my industry, and to my community. And that's really what the legacy means to me. I have a stepdaughter, and, you know, it's like the most heartwarming thing. She just started her first job. She's 16. She just turned 16 in May. And, you know, like all of us at 16 getting our first job, we're really whiny, right? Like, oh, I have to get up early. Oh, I had to stay late. Oh my gosh, I worked 4 days this week. And then you get your paycheck and you're like, this is all I got. You know, so it's been really cool for her to have that experience, and then to come to me and say, you know, I want to learn more about real estate. I love that you got to take me to work when I came for the summers. I love how much people love you and how much you smile and have fun when you're at work. She's like, I don't feel that way in my work, you know? And so I told her, it's going to take a long time. Like, you're 16. It's going to take a really long time, as it did for me, to truly find your purpose. I've always known that I wanted to serve, always. You know, I grew up in a military family. I had a desire to go into the military. My grandfather and father would not let me. That was like not an option. They would have totally disowned me, and they probably would have, like, I don't know, stolen me away and hid me if I tried to go to boot camp or something. So I always wanted to give back and serve in a different capacity, since they would not allow me to follow their footsteps like I wanted. So, you know, just being able to be there for others and put service before self, and just have that really strong work ethic, and have others see that in me. And having a 16-year-old who's my stepdaughter, like, absolutely love that kid to pieces, say that she wants to be happy like I am at work, it's so important to me, and it feels so special. And whether she ever becomes a realtor or not, just the fact that I've made that impression on her at a young age is really, really special. And I hope that I'm doing that, you know, in the community and among my industry partners too. That's really what it's all about at the end of the day.
I love it. And nothing like jumping in with a 16-year-old right out the gate. So that's absolutely amazing. And that you were able to touch her on that level. So that's a testament to who you are. And, you know, it came to my attention that you got some national recognition here. And I'm so proud, because you are on the NAR safety committee.
Oh, that. Yes, I'm like wicked excited about that.
How modest she is. Tell us a little bit about what the NAR safety committee is.
So I'm not going to lie. I got the email that I was appointed, and I had to call one of my friends and say, what does this mean? What did I get roped into? Who did they who voluntold me? What does this even mean? Because I truly had no idea what it meant. And as I learned, it just feels like such a great honor to be part of something at the national level. So as you know, I do damsel in defense.
Yes.
I got into damsel in defense when I was a loan officer, and I was helping support my realtor partners at their open houses. One of my realtor partners had gifted me a pepper spray from damsel in defense, and it really threw me off. I'm like, why do we have pepper spray in an open house? Like, who are we afraid of? Who are we pepper spraying? And it was so it was so new to me at the time. This was back in, let's see, I'd been in the industry a couple of years. I want to say it was 2012, right around then, because we had just PCS to Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida, and that's who gifted it to me. And I just thought, maybe I need to rethink my career. Like, this lady's handing me pepper spray. She's telling me these horror stories about, you know, unwelcome people showing up and the bad things that happen in the industry. And rather than being afraid of that and, you know, stepping away from the industry, or maybe not being willing to host open houses or support my realtor partners in that capacity any longer, I decided to do something about it. So I decided to become a rep for Damsel in Defense, learn about how to utilize the tools and protect my industry partners. And then here I am years later, now teaching realtor safety training. And it's really cool to see how that's evolved from just something I wanted to do, as a result of somebody wanting to keep me safe with them. So it's really neat, and I'm excited to bring that experience and that knowledge to the national level and be able to help my industry partners essentially worldwide at that level. So yeah, I'm really, really thrilled about it. It's a huge honor, and I'm looking forward to seeing what I can bring to the table and to help change at a national level. So I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited for you. I didn't even know what it was about myself.
Didn't
So
either.
I'm excited for you to bring it back to this direction
Yes.
and let us know what it is and what they do and how we can be safer, especially in this day and age. We definitely
Yes.
need to be very careful because we do put ourselves out there in more ways than just an open house now. We put ourselves out there on the media as well. And so we really do need to take some safety precautions. So
For sure.
I can't wait to hear those tips. That's going to be fantastic.
Thank you. And I'm excited to learn a lot too. I'm sure there's a lot of other talent and experience and knowledge that's, coming to the board as well. And it'll be wonderful to learn from each other.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. And speaking of that in the community and everything that you do, I mean, you are so well renowned. That's why I was so excited to have you on, because you not only do the NAR, you also served on your local realtor board. You are, like I said, the 5 times icon. You're always at the top, and you're at the top, not because you're driven by the dollar cents. You're just driven by people. And that's what makes you absolutely amazing. And one thing, if people don't know that you just got back from that you do, is VA rep. Can you talk about what VA rep is? And it's separate from EXP for anyone that's watching. It's a total separate entity that she does. And so I want you to talk about that a little bit.
Thank you. That's really my why in all of this. So as I mentioned, I'm a military brat, a military spouse, and again, just putting service before self and finding a way to live on that legacy of serving those who serve. So VA Rep is the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals. So when it started in California as a way to bring industry partners together, whether it was realtors and lenders, inspectors, insurance agents, anybody involved in the process who ever made an impact on a service member or veteran in the purchase or sale process. They created this organization for the purpose of education. So that's how it started. So through the education and becoming known in the industry as the VA expert or the military or veteran expert, it grew because people from their local community would call and say, hey, I know you teach VA education, but I have this veteran who has a need. Maybe air conditioning went out, not in Alaska again, but in California. There's this need. Are you aware of any other nonprofits that perhaps have a program where they can help supplement the cost of an unexpected housing hardship, such as the heater going out, bills getting behind, etc.? So they decided that they were going to grow this organization on a much larger level because there was such a need beyond just VA education in the local community and among our military and vets. So it evolved where our big picture mission is to give back to those who serve or have served when they have some type of housing hardship. So I got brought onto the organization right after its infancy. It had only been in existence for about a year at the time here in Alaska. And I got brought on as the community outreach director. So I had the opportunity to share our mission among our community, among other VSOs, other nonprofit organizations, among our industry partners, and start by helping the education here locally in the community. So collectively, we can all do a better job serving our military and veteran clients. But big picture, and why I was out in the community forming relationships and bonds with other veteran service organizations, is so that we can be the resource when there is a vet in our local community that has some type of housing hardship. So our board has had the amazing pleasure of helping so many veterans over the years with any housing hardship. So I've helped rehome a vet who was on the verge of homelessness.
Oh, wow.
We have been able to put vets up in temporary housing when a heat source goes out and they're waiting for a landlord to get it fixed. We've replaced boilers. We've installed Toyo stoves when a 72-year-old veteran was climbing up trees and hacking away at getting some wood to be able to fuel his wood burning stove for him and his wife. And that was their sole heat source. I mean, we've done so many incredible things, and it's not only been recognized locally, but it has actually been recognized by our organization on a national level, to the point where I now have stepped away from the community outreach role, and I am a self-named, I don't have an exact title from national yet, but I'm the
Titles.
self-named community cares director. And what that means is I am the resource and the direct liaison between anybody that knows of a veteran experience a housing hardship, that needs that hand up, that needs that assistance getting them through that hardship, whether it's finding resources, whether it's, going there physically and just checking on them and making sure that they're okay, whether it's negotiating with a local business or contractor, or whether it comes down to spending dollars and getting that repair done for them because their fixed income can't otherwise support it. So at the national level, I'm the only one among our 46 chapters that has that community cares director role, because we grew the program so large here and there's such a large need for that in Alaska. So we just got back from that conference, as you mentioned. And I'm proud to say that last year we got first place among all of the chapters for not only community outreach, but also our community cares role. So
Wow.
we're just looking to continue spreading our mission and get more people on board to support the mission, because the more we have on the board, the more we have members, the more we can give back in both of those capacities. But most importantly, near and dear to my heart, above and beyond the education, which of course is important, is, giving back to those vets that need us right here in our community. So I love VA Rep. It's my why. If they let me retire on the board, I'm sure that I will.
Well, that's absolutely amazing, because I know that your group here in Alaska have actually saved lives. And
Absolutely.
we might not be able to save all of them, but your group is making such an impact. Just as simple things of going and getting wood and ensuring that they have heat to get through our negative 33 degrees in the wintertime is so life-saving, honestly. Yeah. So absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited for the VA Rep and where you're going with that. And you don't have to be a realtor to hop on VA Rep and help the veterans, right? You can
at all.
You could be a teller at a bank and have a passion for it and want to help.
Absolutely. If you just want to be the source of the source and the resource, and somebody who has a way to give back to vets here in our local community, then that's your prerequisite. You're hired.
I love
well,
it.
You're not hired. You're volunteered.
You're voluntold. You're voluntold. Yeah.
Yes. You get paid with the warmness in your heart when you get to do something right. It's not a paid position, and it's not about that at all. So if you have the heart to help, please come talk to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and that goes into a little bit VA Rep, because it's kind of like a personal hobby and it's right down your alley. And so what is your personal hobbies? Because I know you love the outdoors.
Yes.
I think you like Sasquatches.
I do.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I had to swing by your office over the weekend to grab some open house signs, and I saw these Sasquatches, and I'm like, she is my kind of girl, man. I wanted to see if you could tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, so those are a funny story. When we had first PCS to Jay Bear, and you're driving on the Glen, I noticed a couple months into driving that there was a random Sasquatch cut out that was just somewhere, like along the highway. It was on a rock. It was on a tree. It was by the railroad tracks. It was out in a field. And I thought, this is so cool. And it's so Alaskan. And that's the first thing that really stuck out to me as being like Alaskan. And then I would go on hikes and you would see a Sasquatch somewhere. And then, you go to the Alaskan local stores and they have Sasquatch designs. And I know, people think Alaska and they think fishing and hunting and bears and moose. And my first experience and the truly Alaskan thing to me was Sasquatch. So there was a gal on Facebook Marketplace that had these Sasquatch cutouts for sale. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get me some. So I like even offered to pay her extra to hold them for me so that I can go pick them up. And I went to her house in my Toyota 4Runner that I used to drive. And they're like 8 feet tall. And I thought, oh my goodness, I did not realize that they were that big, because again, I'm always seeing them from far away while I'm driving. So I literally took these 8-foot Sasquatch wooden cutouts and I put the front passenger seat down and I like kind of kitty cornered them through the back of the tailgate. And then luckily in 4Runners, the window goes down in the tailgate. And I like strapped them down and I drove all the way across town with Sasquatch legs hanging out of my 4Runner. And I thought, I hope everybody wonders what in the world this crazy person is carrying in her car. And the cool thing about the Sasquatch cutouts I bought is that they have extra tufts on them. So she painted extra tough boots on them. So you have this big Sasquatch hanging out of my car with extra tough boots on. And I just hope it made so many people laugh and wonder. And now they're at the end of my driveway. That's how you know you've arrived. I think they're so funny. My new Ford Bronco I bought happens to be a Wild Trek Sasquatch package. I'm in business with a local builder that is Bigfoot builder, like after Sasquatch. And I don't know, it's just been something that's evolved over the years. And I just think it's so fun and funny. And I'm a punny person, so Sasquatch really fits for me.
It's your theme. I loved it when I saw the extra tufts on there. I was like, that is so Alaskan. I've never.
So fun. So fun.
Oh my gosh. Congrats on the Bronco. When we pulled up, we thought
Thank
that was
you.
Ernie's. We were like, Ernie got a new car.
Ernie got the 4Runner. So we just sold his Jeep. I was actually looking for something better on gas mileage. Ironically, we had gone into the Toyota dealership with the intent of pre-ordering one of the hybrid 4Runners, and they weren't going to have them until sometime in 2025. Ernie's Jeep had just rolled over 100,000 miles, and like, no offense, but nobody should own a Jeep once it gets past 100,000 miles because we all know Jeeps are junk. Anyways, so it was time for him to sell the Jeep, and he really wanted a 4Runner. I needed something better on gas. And ironically, the Bronco has better gas mileage than the 4Runner, which I would have never imagined. So we were at the dealership having them give us a quote on what they would buy the Jeep for, wandering around the lot, which dealerships, you know, you intentionally spend all that time doing an appraisal just to get us to wander the lot and buy, you know, unexpectedly like I did. But I saw this orange Bronco and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have it. And Ernie just looked at me and he's like, remember the mission. You came for something better with better gas mileage. I'm like, but it's orange. And he is like, but it doesn't have better gas mileage. I'm like, I have to drive it. So we got in it, we drove it, we were looking at all the specs, and it does have better gas mileage than the 4Runner. So I drove it off the lot.
And it's mine roomy. Now. They are so roomy. My other friend has one, and she picked me up in it because we go off and do videos, and she had a small Mercedes, and me getting out of that car was so painful. So she finally got a Bronco so I can get in and out of it with ease. Nice. And they are roomy. They are nice.
They are. And mine's name is Cheeto. And Cheeto was not available on a license plate. So cheers to whoever has that license plate. I hope I get to see them on the road someday. My Cheeto identifies as cheesy. So he's cheesy.
I like it. I like it. I love it. So what else is your passion? Because I know that you're a big outdoors person. I mean, when you're not selling real estate, you're in flannels, you're in extra tufts, and you're out there outside. So what do you love about Alaska? What's your favorite place?
Oh, favorite place. I really love Ketchikan. So I got to go down to Ketchikan for a convention a couple of years ago, and man, I fell in love with it. There's just something so special about Ketchikan, the area, the people, the scenery. I just feel like I'm in a whole different world when I'm in Ketchikan, but unfortunately I can't drive there. So I guess my favorite place, here locally where I can drive to is Homer, which is why Ernie and I got married down in Homer. I love how you just come around the corner, and all of a sudden you just see this wide open ocean and mountain landscape, and you can fish, and it's quiet and it's beautiful. I just love anything about the outdoors and scenery. and pictures just don't do it justice. You know, I've always dreamed of coming to Alaska. I never imagined I would get to live here and call this my home. You know, but you see it on pictures, you see it on TV, and you're like, wow, that's incredible. And then you get here and you're like, whoa, like it's so much more than what you can see in photos and online and on TV. And I don't know, it takes my breath away. It leaves me speechless, and it's just so special. And I think so many people take it for granted. You know, I have friends and family that come and visit, and, you know, they're almost in tears. And it's like, you know, I see that reaction out of people. I'm like, that is how I feel every single time I am out in the woods or up on a mountaintop. It's like you can't see those things unless you get out there and you explore. And that's my favorite thing about going out and hiking, whether it's on a mountain or through the woods. You can't see it any other way, and the pictures just don't do it justice. So I love anything that leaves me breathless and speechless at the end. Absolutely love it, all of that.
I love it. Well, and you've done so much. You even did a TV show for real estate. You were featured on Real Producers magazine here in Alaska by Devin Duran. That was amazing.
That was so cool. I didn't even know what that was all about when she had first called, and she's like, do you want to be in this magazine? And I'm like, oh no, that's okay. Like, I don't pay to do advertising, but, you know, thank you. I appreciate it. She's like, no, you've been nominated. You've been vetted. You've like proven your numbers. And I was like, what? And then she told me what it was all about. And I was like, but I'm like the little guy here. She's like, but you're not.
You're not.
So that was a really big eye opener for me to realize, you know, I had read the magazine every month that it came in, and so many people that I look up to in the industry and, you know, I've learned from in the industry and are like mentors to me in the industry have all been featured in it. And so reading about everybody every month, you know, I just always thought, okay, someday I'm going to get there. And then I got that call, and that someday was so much faster than I ever expected. But like you said, I don't lead from a place of numbers. I don't lead from a place of monetary income. I believe that you do right by others and you serve with your best self, and the money just comes, you know, and that just happens inevitably. So I had no idea where I was on the leaderboard in terms of production and how I compare to those that I really idolize and look up to in the industry. So that was really, really cool. And it was a very big eye opener.
It is. I was so proud of you. And before we wrap up, I have 2 more questions for you. Okay. This is kind of like a story question, because that's just what I do, is story questions all the time. But you always find time in your real estate business to block out for education and conventions.
Always.
Why do you find that that is important, and what value do you get out of it? Like, we have EXPCon coming up. What do you get out of it every single year, no matter how much education or how little education, or, you know, because things can kind of move around and get changed up depending on the year. You know, why do you constantly make sure you go?
It's truly invaluable. It's not about the value I find in it. It's knowing that education is invaluable. So to best serve others, whether it is my industry partners, my teammates, my clients, if you don't know it, you can't do it well, you know? And the only thing consistent in our industry is change. And I'm huge on relationships and huge on teamwork. So the education component, I feel like it should be mandatory. I mean, it is in a sense our continuing education, but you can never know it all. And once you think you know it, it changes. And even if you know it and you've been there and you've learned it, you take it a second time, you hear different words, you pick up on different things, your attention span grasps different concepts. And to hear it from somebody in a different way, you're never not going to learn. I mean, you can't actually say, oh, I already know all that, I don't need that class, because it's not true. You're always going to hear something new. You're always going to evolve. And if you're not learning, you're not growing. I mean, think of the education system. You can't just like stop at 4th grade. You know, like you're always evolving. And just because you learned how to do addition and subtraction doesn't mean there's not the next level of math for multiplication and division. And then all the stupid things I learned in college that I've never learned, like used in real life, but they're still important. like you cannot continue to grow if you're not continuing to learn. It's invaluable. It really is. And my favorite thing above and beyond the education, because that's the importance factor. But the thing that really drives me to go to the conventions is getting to put a face to the name and hug the person that I've been talking to and doing transactions with, and getting to meet other people in the industry and forming those bonds. Because I can tell you there have been countless times that I present an offer to somebody, they have multiple offers on the table, and the realtor on the other end, maybe our offers are all very, very close, but if I have a relationship with that realtor, they know that I'm going to work in the best interest of my client and fight for my client, but also be fair in dealings and be like pleasant to work with and actually be responsive and have communication. That could be the seller's deciding factor, is hearing that, hey, this realtor is, very easy to work with. I trust that they've already gotten their client pre-approved. They fully vetted them with the lender. That could go such a long ways. So at the end of the day, as much as I love meeting people and hugging everybody and having those friendships and relationships, that's what's really important and can go a long way for the client. And at the end of the day, that's why I'm here. So just forming those relationships is so special. And I get wicked excited when I walk into a convention and, everybody wants to come around and hug everybody and say, it's so good to see you again. And that's how we build referral relationships, from within the state, from outside the state, with other partners, here, there, and everywhere. And some of my closest referral partners, sometimes I've never even met them in person. We just build this bond. They've been referred to me by somebody else that I've met in person. So that just gets extended and it goes on and it goes on. And it's really special, but everybody needs to attend. Everybody needs to continue learning and growing. It should be one of our whys in this industry.
Oh, absolutely, for longevity and to get that career, to keep it going through all of the shifts and boundaries, because as we saw during COVID, a shift could come that we've never seen before.
Oh, yeah. We've had a couple of those.
Yeah. Even the ones that have been in the business for a long time, we were like, well, we're just, calling it the COVID era. We didn't know. And so you always have to learn, and you always have to continue to network to keep your longevity in any business that you do. So it's one of the things that I love about you is that you put education in your business plan every year.
Absolutely.
And that is extremely important. So as we start to wrap up, as you look towards your future and your real estate career, I got a cord in the way of my questions here. So that's kind of like let me peek here. So as you look towards the future of your real estate career and your involvement in the community, what are some of the goals and milestones that you're aiming to achieve over the next few years?
Icon will always be up there because I want to be able to lead by example for my team members. I want to show them that it can be done, and hard work, perseverance, and doing right by others will get you on that leaderboard. Also, as a team lead, I guess we can be on the leaderboard if I'm not a top producer, but I feel like I need to lead by example. So Icon will always be something on there as far as a work production. But again, it's more to me about the community aspect. I didn't even know about the Mark Courting Award. I had no idea that Community Enrichment Award was even a thing. So to have earned that was really special. If there's anything else out in the community that is something that I can earn for making a difference, I don't do it for the recognition, as you know, but when you get surprised with something that you didn't even know existed, and somebody sees your passion and you putting service before self, and they recognize everything you do in the community, that's a really good feeling. And it's not about the recognition. It's about people knowing that the community matters. And I hope that it encourages others to be involved and to give back to their community as well. So I think my major milestones, I would love, I don't see retirement in my future. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I could ever stop working. I love traveling. I love experiencing new places. I have friends all over the globe from all of my years being a military spouse and brat. And so when I get to travel and I see those friends who I consider family, because they were my only family when we were at certain duty stations, because we you get transplanted everywhere. We didn't have our actual family members there. So when I get to travel and I know that the team is holding down the fort and my clients are still being taken care of, it helps me realize that all my hard work and effort and all the time that I put in boots on the ground, I can still love life and visit with my friends and family members and go around the globe and travel and still serve my clients with the highest, service possible. So futuristically, I would love to be able to do more out in the community, do more with nonprofit organizations, travel more to be able to see those friends and family members and to be able to give back in other capacities while still having the successful book of business and have my clients served at the highest level. So getting to that next stage in my career and having that support system so that I can grow and have more to give back, that's going to be the ultimate goal for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the last final question for any new realtors that are just getting in the business or have been in the business for 1 year and maybe just hitting a wall, what is one piece of advice that you would tell them?
Don't give up, first of all. Like, you just can't give up. Just because something works for somebody else does not mean it's what's going to make you successful. There are so many realtors out there that are far above and beyond me in production, and they do things in their business to generate business that I could never fathom being good at or desiring to do. So just because it made somebody else successful and it's not for you, that's okay. Find your authentic self. Find what makes you stand out in your community, among your peers, among your family. You have to always be you, because people are not driven to you for the service you provide. They're driven to you for your personality, your compassion, and how hard you're going to work for them. And that comes with education and drive and really finding your why. I tell people all the time, pick up the phone. Nobody likes cold calling.
No.
Even the most successful people on the planet, they don't. If somebody tells you they like cold calling, they're lying to you.
Yes.
Nobody loves cold calling because it doesn't feel personal. It doesn't feel like you're making relationships. But until you can get through to somebody on the phone and have them hear your sincerity, hear what you can offer them, you're not going to get to the part that you're going to love and flourish being face to face with somebody. So you have to take that hard step to get to where you want to go, to where you can really be authentically you. And this is not an easy industry. I mean, if you think you could just jump in and somebody's going to hand you leads, don't get into real estate.
No.
It's hard work. You have to be willing to give up nights and weekends in the beginning, give it your all, go above and beyond, put in the work, do the education, lose some deals. I mean, it's going to happen. You have to be willing to fire clients if they're messing with your mental health. Like, you have to be willing to put in the work. And it's hard work that's going to get you to what everybody thinks real estate is, of creating your own schedule and having all this time off. And
I haven't figured that part out yet.
Yeah, I mean, it takes years. It really does. But if you have to be willing to put in the work, and things don't happen overnight. I didn't get to where I am today by starting last year. I mean, I had 11 years experience as a loan officer. That 11 years is what made me good when I started in real estate. But I didn't just come right out of the gate swinging and being successful. It took me like a year and a half into my business after 11 years in the industry. It was a whole year and a half. I mean, I went my first 6 months without a paycheck. It's hard. And I had 11 years experience. So you just have to be willing to fight for it. You have to be willing to put in the work, and education. Can't stress that enough. So
absolutely.
Know your purpose. Lead with your why. Don't lead with the end goal of the money. That will come naturally. Know your why. Be authentically you, and just go get it.
The best message I could ever hear, because I preach that all the time, is to just be yourself, flaws and all, because you're beautifully perfect the way you are. Yep, so I absolutely love that. For anyone that's looking to join real estate or join a team, get a hold of MJ at Key Realty. I think it's Key Realty. I don't have my glass. Oh, they're on my head. Let me get my glasses. That's how it works. keyrealty.group. You can find her online. You can Google her name, get it in there, give her a jingle. If you're looking to buy or sell, give her a call as well. She's with eXp Realty at Key Realty Group with MJ Motta. Thank you for coming on today. I so appreciate you coming.
Thank you, Victoria. That was a lot of fun. And I hope I was able to make a difference for somebody today and help somebody out in the industry or in the community. So thank you so much for your time and for having me on.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
My mouse. I always have a hard time with this. On every media I do videos. I can't end it. There we go. I found it.
You just don't want to. You're just having so much fun.
I know, right? All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
There were days when the road seemed long, fighting battles with no end in sight. But I learned to dance through the pain, taught myself to hold on tight. I faced the storms and the fire. Here I stand a little high. I don't need the world to see. It's not about what's left behind me. I'm running free on my own with every scar I've